Hey guys, and welcome back to the Life of Con. And today we're going to be getting into some NFL stuff, Week 11 predictions. Before I start anything else, though, I want to just really quick apologize for my lack of uploading. And I haven't been active for a couple weeks now, and I'm really sorry about that. School and college is a little more of a workload than I hoped it would be. And obviously school comes first, so I need to get all my stuff done. And I thought I'd have more time to record than I have, and it just hasn't been happening, so I do apologize for that, but there's really nothing I can do about that as of right now. I'm going to try to do my very best to upload more regularly though, and I'm going to try to get stuff done more on the weekends as far as uploading and recording, so I can upload stuff over the week. But without further ado, we're going to be getting into some Week 11 predictions. And the first thing I want to get into is just a quick recap of the Steelers and Browns game. Since I'm recording this on Friday and hopefully uploading it also on Friday, I wasn't able to get a prediction in as far as what I thought would happen in the game. Definitely did not expect the Browns to win, but the only thing I can say about this game is that it kind of proved that neither team is going to be able to get to the level of making it in the playoffs, and that's just kind of a fact. The Steelers were within 7 at certain points, but you never felt like they were going to win. Their offense just could not do anything, and up until coming into this game, I thought they could legitimately be a threat to make it to the playoffs and maybe make some noise. But then I saw that, because your defense can only do so much, and that was very, very well proven in yesterday's game, because the Steelers had good defense, but when you don't have any offense at all, then you're not going to do well. So for a while, we thought that the Steelers defense might be able to carry them into the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to happen. On the Browns side, I don't think the Browns won the game, but they still looked bad. It was just a matter of the Steelers offense not being able to catch up with them. And Baker Mayfield, regardless of how many points they scored, they only scored 21 points, even with all the interceptions and pickoffs they got in the red zone. And Baker Mayfield just was not able to do as well as everyone thought he would be. So I think it's kind of a lost season for both of these teams. I'm going to just quick talk about the whole Myles Garrett thing. Altercation is a nice word for it. Mason Rudolph was fed up with Myles Garrett kind of like, roughing him around at the end of the play. So he tried ripping off his helmet, which was not a good move. But then Myles Garrett escalated it even farther by ripping Mason Rudolph's helmet off and then proceeding to hit him on the head with Mason Rudolph's own helmet, and he hit Mason Rudolph on the head, and it was just inexcusable. I, like a lot of people, I feel like I kind of do get a little bit of a kick off of watching fights, just like a lot of shoving around and like maybe a few fist fights here and there just because it creates a good drama. But when you risk the well-being of another player to such an extent that Myles Garrett did when he smashed Mason Rudolph's head with a helmet, it's just so inexcusable. And I was kind of getting riled up kind of watching the fight. Like, I thought it was cool at first, and then I saw that happen and I just was speechless. I could not believe that I just saw that happen in an NFL game. It looked like something out of WWE WrestleMania or something like that. Like, that's how crazy it was. It's something that just cannot happen in the league, and I'm glad that it says here he was suspended indefinitely. The minimum punishment he's getting is the rest of the year and the playoffs, should they make it, which I don't think they will, but that's besides the point. He's at least getting ejected or suspended for the entire year, and that's just the minimum of it. I mean, I totally agree that he should deserve that, and I've heard things saying that that's going to define his entire career now from that one act, and I totally agree with that. As a big fan of the game of football, it made me sick to watch, and he deserves every single amount of punishment that's coming to him. That just cannot happen in the game. But now, getting into some actual score predictions, I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter than my other ones have been. I know the other ones I've had to shrink down into, even shrinking all the way down, they've been like 20 plus minutes. So I'm hoping to shrink this one down a little more. So I'm going to start this off by first talking about the Vikings, because usually I try to be unbiased but in this scenario, we're playing at home against the Broncos. We should kill them. The Vikings do have kind of a tendency, especially this season and with Kirk Cousins, to play down to their opponent, and I feel like they will still do that. We should still be able to win this game very comfortably. It just might not be an absolute blowout because the Vikings just aren't known for playing that way, playing in a blowout kind of way, especially with the kind of defense they have. Our defense should absolutely prey on the Broncos here, and the Broncos do have kind of a solid pass defense, but their running defense is just really bad, and Dalvin Cook is going to churn more yards out than he has all season. So I say the Vikings improve to 8-3, and the Broncos fall to 3-7. And now on to the game that I am picking as my upset of the week. I usually always do when I do these prediction videos, which I've been trying to do them week by week, but it has not been working. But every week I try to do a upset of the week, and I have to always pick one. And this week is kind of a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Texans winning an away game over the Ravens. It doesn't look like it should be considered an upset because it's a 6-3 team going up against a 7-2 team. But on the stat sheet, the Ravens projections by analysts and everything like that, everything is going in favor of the Ravens right now just because of how amazing Lamar Jackson's been playing. But we really need to think about how Deshaun Watson does when he's up against a good quarterback and when he gets into a shootout, because Deshaun Watson turns into an absolute football god when he is being challenged by another quarterback, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a huge, high-scoring contest, but I think the Texans will just barely sneak by, and the Ravens, who were looking good, are going to get knocked down a peg. So I say that the Texans improve to 7-3 and the Ravens fall to 7-3. Moving on to Falcons versus Panthers. This should be another easy game. I don't buy into people saying that the Falcons are going to start doing good just because they beat the Saints. I don't think it really means much. Every once in a while, a weird situation happens like that. If you guys remember the Bills beating the Vikings in an away game at US Bank last year, that was just a weird fluke. So I think the Panthers, as rough as they're doing with Kyle Allen now, he's really struggling. I think that they can get the job done against the Falcons. The Panthers improve to 6-4, and the Falcons fall to 2-8. Next, the Cowboys and Lions. Matthew Stafford is out for this game. It was confirmed. So I think that swings it pretty easily in favor of the Cowboys in this game. As much as they've been struggling against better teams, which the Lions are a sneaky good team at, even though they are 3-5-1, because the Lions have played some good teams that have kind of dropped their win total more than they really deserve to be dropped. The backup quarterback, I forgot who the backup quarterback was for the Lions, but he just did not. He was terrible against the Bears. So I think the Cowboys should be able to handily win this game. I'm going to put them at 6-4, and the Lions will be 3-6-1. So now going into a very interesting one with the Jaguars and the Colts. So the Colts have been doing kind of rough with and without Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was kind of not doing too well even before he got hurt. The Colts have not been able to put up a whole bunch of points. And it's going to be interesting to see on the Jaguars side how they do with Nick Foles now returning from injury. This is really a toss-up to predict because I don't really know how Nick Foles is going to do. I say that Nick Foles comes back and he starts playing like everyone hopes he will. I'm just going to make that prediction. It's obviously a hard thing to predict, but I'm going to make a prediction that Nick Foles does perform really well. He takes control of this team, proves that he's better than Gardner Minshew in leading this team. As much as everyone likes Minshew Mania, I think Foles will do good for this team now that he's back from injury. And I think they beat the Colts, and the Colts will have more questions involving how is their offense going to put up points. So I say that the Jaguars improve to 5-5 and the Colts drop to 5-5. This one shouldn't be too tough. The Bills playing at the Dolphins, and the Bills did struggle in their last loss to the Browns, and the Dolphins are going on a 2-game win streak, but that is 100% a fluke. They were able to stun two teams with 2 impressive wins, but the Dolphins are still on paper a really bad team. So I think the Bills should be able to turn things around, have a good feel-good game, and see if they can get their season turned around after a rough loss last week. So I say the Bills improve to 7-3, and the Dolphins fall to 2-8. Going into Saints and Buccaneers, I don't think this will be a close game. I think this will really be a game where the Saints are angry and they want to prove that they can still be an NFC contender. I 100% still think that they're an NFC contender and even a Super Bowl contender. I don't think their stunning loss to the Falcons proves anything. Like I was talking about earlier, sometimes good teams lose to bad teams. It's just a fluke sometimes, and I don't think the Saints are suddenly going to just lose their season because they had a rough game against the Falcons. I think that Drew Brees is really going to stick it to the Buccaneers now and crush them. So I say the Saints handily beat the Buccaneers, improve to 8-2, and the Buccaneers will fall to 3-7. I'm going to skip by this game real fast. The Jets and Redskins, it doesn't really matter who wins, let's be honest. There's absolutely no playoff implications of this game. I say the Redskins beat the Jets because the Jets coming into it with a better record, I think it's just a Jets thing to lose this game. I can't really say much insight into this one. There's no implications of it whatsoever. So I say the Redskins improve to 2-8 and the Jets fall to 2-8. Now an interesting game, 49ers versus Cardinals. Even losing in that insane game last Monday to the Seahawks, the 49ers prove still that they can be a legit powerhouse in the NFC, because I think the Seahawks are one of the best teams in the NFC too. So losing that game didn't really do much for me as far as doubting the 49ers, because they really put up a fight against one of the best quarterbacks in this game right now. So I think that they can still get a feel-good win at home, get things back on track against the Cardinals, and they'll improve to 9-1. The Cardinals will fall to 3-7-1. Moving on to the Raiders and the Bengals. The Raiders are an impressively good team this year. They have won a lot of their games against rough teams, but teams that are having a rough season. I say they win this game easily. How am I supposed to pick against or for a team that hasn't won yet? The Bengals are still searching for their first win, so you can't really pick a team that hasn't won yet until they win. So obviously I think the Raiders are going to win this game handily. They'll improve to 6-4, and the Bengals will fall to 0-10. And now a really good, interesting matchup, Patriots and Eagles. Patriots at Eagles. It's a rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago after a rough loss, and then they have a whole 2 weeks to think about that. I think the Patriots are going to come out strong and absolutely kill the Eagles. This is just not a game that the Patriots lose, and the Eagles aren't quite there yet. I think they still have potential to try and make a run for the playoffs because they are going to start improving now that they got their wide receiver core back. But the Patriots just are not the team to play if you want to rebuild the season. So I think the Patriots will improve to 9-1, and the Eagles will fall to 5-5. We're almost there, getting into a Sunday night matchup, Bears at Rams, and this is an interesting game between two teams that have really been struggling and that have not seen the results that they were hoping to see going into this point of the season. I say the Rams win this game. Their defense it hasn't been playing the same as last year, but I think that they can take care of Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky only won last week's game because the Lions had their backup QB in, and the Bears defense just preyed on that. So I think Mitchell Trubisky will struggle again, raising even more questions on whether or not he can lead a team. And the Rams will improve to 6-4, and the Bears will fall to 4-6. And now a very interesting matchup. Again, I keep saying that, but there's a lot of interesting matchups this week. We have the Chiefs at the Chargers at Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. I always love seeing teams playing in international venues, and it's really fun seeing a possible expansion to those countries. This is really a must-win, I think, for both teams. The Chargers need to win just to stay afloat in the playoff race. The Chiefs need to win to prove that they can still be a powerhouse in the AFC after losing a really heartbreaking game to the Titans, which Patrick Mahomes, it was not his fault. It was the fact that the Chiefs cannot stop the run. It's not working for them, and they really need to fix that if they're going to salvage the season, because it's tough having a good offense And Patrick Mahomes is doing really well, or did really well in his very first game back from his injury. But as good as your offense is, if you can't stop a running back from running 10 yards each play, then the game's not gonna go in your favor. But in this game anyway, I think that they can fend off Melvin Gordon. I think that Patrick Mahomes is gonna come into this game with a lot of intensity after losing a game they really should have won. And I think they're gonna start rebuilding their team, and I wouldn't be surprised if this team ends up going maybe 11-5 at the very end of the year, only losing to maybe the Patriots. So I think this Chiefs team is definitely going to make a resurgence, and I say they win this game against the Chargers, improving to 7-4, and the Chargers will drop to 4-7. So that does it for these predictions. I hope you don't mind that I was kind of glancing to that side. I like looking at my computer for the matchups and seeing some of the stats, so I wasn't looking at like analyst predictions or anything like that, trust me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I always love doing these sports talk videos, and maybe I can do more straight up talking about sports. You know, I used to do those sports talk segments of my videos, and I still love doing that. If I can find the time to, maybe at the end of each week, I can talk about, you know, sports news, stuff going on. I have a sports radio show at my school that I've been doing lately, so I really like talking about sports, and I want to spread that to you guys too, so maybe I can have that opportunity more often. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked this sports content, or if you like watching reactions to stuff like acapella music, try not to laugh challenges, various other challenges, if you like any of that kind of stuff, I would recommend that you hit subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you know that whenever a video like this, or whenever a video of mine that you like comes out, then you can watch it. And it's really convenient for me because I have sports videos and reaction videos, stuff like that. And if you only like a certain thing that I do and you want to make sure you can watch all of that thing, then you can turn on post notifications and know when that particular type of video is coming out, so you don't have to keep checking my channel to see when those kinds of videos are coming out. Also, put in the comments if you want to suggest something for me to react to. Thank you one more time for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side.